Last question in the motivation lecture series 1, which is how would you motivate your members, your clients, your athletes, your students? Do extrinsic reward that oftentimes we use really help or hurt intrinsic motivation? That's what we are going to answer in this lesson segment. Here we go. From the key tenets of self-determination, the bottom line is what? Intrinsic motivation. To learn, to achieve reach goals, to improve, to feel sensations, to enjoy, or to look for, seek enjoyment. Enjoyment doesn't come automatically. Sometimes people have to put effort to get that enjoyment, and some people actually do work hard to get that. So our next question, which we will answer through a theory, is how do you motivate? How would you motivate your members, your followers? Do extrinsic reward undermine intrinsic motivation? We oftentimes use that carrot as our approach, right? Try to give that carrot visible, tangible, not tangible, untangible, so invisible, to motivate people. And even some researchers said being paid for working on an intrinsically interesting activity, but you paid for the activity that you enjoy, could drop down a person's intrinsic motivation for that particular activity, which initially was intrinsically motivated. Is that always true in your PPK? Reflect on your PPK. These are some examples that oftentimes we use. Athletic scholarship in sports. Does it help, hurt their intrinsic motivation? If they pull that scholarship, do you think athletes will leave because they're not getting that reward anymore? Performance outcome is not there's something that athletes want to get. Successful outcome and failure outcome. Feedback, positive feedback, negative feedback. Positive feedbacks and successful performance outcomes are reward. If you get those, do your the engagement in that activity get hurt because of that outcomes? How about free fitness membership? If you start getting them, then your intrinsic motivation toward your physical activity or regular exercise drops. How about extra credit that oftentimes students ask in class, and I oftentimes grant those activities in face-to-face classes. If you get that extra credit often, does it really bring down your intrinsic motivation in the classroom for your learning? How do we answer that question? How does external reward oftentimes practitioners and leaders use as a motivational strategies for our followers? Do they really help or hurt our followers' intrinsic motivation? Cognitive evaluation theory tells us really good story about it. Main point of cognitive evaluation theory is whether it hurts or help athletes or followers' intrinsic motivation is depending on, do you remember SCR approach that we're taking in this motivation topic? So that is exactly here too. It depending on how that rewards are perceived by the followers is critical to determine whether that intrinsic motivation is hurt or help. Another point of this is functional significance of the event's reward. How a reward affects intrinsic motivation level is depending on whether that recipient followers perceive it or perceive them, that reward, to be more controlling or more informational. It depending on how they perceive. There are two possibilities of interpretation. One is controlling, the other one is informational. What does it mean by controlling? Person who is receiving that reward feel that my boss or my leader, my coach teacher, they are giving me that reward to change me, to control my performance. They're giving me that scholarship so that I can perform again for the championship. They're giving me that extra credit so that I can come to the class. They are giving me that free membership or free stuff, all those swags to me from my fitness center so that I can come to their center to do exercise, which means they're perceiving that reward as controlling their behaviors. Then it hurts intrinsic motivation. However, if they perceive that reward as information related to their effort, their performance, their improvement related to them, that they're valuing as information of me, not controlling my outcome, but about me, how competent I am, how well I'm trying, how much of effort I'm putting in. It's related to that, contingent on that performance, quality of a performance. Then yes, it strengthens intrinsic motivation. So whether extrinsic reward affect intrinsic motivation, it all depending on how you intended to provide. What was your intention? It has to be always information related to performers, your followers, process related effort like performance, not outcome based performance, but process-based performance. Emphasize that and provide it is strengthen that process, and then it's more likely to what? Strengthen their intrinsic motivation. Remember this. We tended to misuse reward in our motivational strategies, but if you use it properly, emphasizing process of a performance, it can be very powerful. Having that said, practical implications to increase healthy motivation, intrinsic motivation, identify the motivation, integrated regulation right up here. You need to have a variety in your activity, and a sequence of activity should not be always the same. It makes them feel bored. So if you want to, that's a basic thing. Make things diverse and in different ways so that people can enjoy the activity, not get bored. That's number one. That's the way to increase healthy motivations. Involve participants in decision what they want to do. Remember, autonomy is a key along with the competence and relatedness to strengthen. Those are basic psychological needs. If you strengthen them, they're more likely to develop what? Healthier motivational strategies, more self-determined form of motivation leading to positive outcomes. So, always ask your participants. Autonomy doesn't mean free autonomy, like free choices. No, that goes the wrong way. Always have appropriate options for your followers that produce positive same outcomes. Then ask them, which way would you like to do? How would you like to proceed this task to get this outcome? Little bit guided autonomy. And when they decided what they want to do, then their autonomy goes up, their confidence goes up. In that process, they feel more connected with their leader and the members. You're strengthening basic psychological needs in this theory. Emphasize progress of the performance, positive feelings associated with activity, which is emphasizing again intrinsic motivation, identified regulations, and integrated regulations. If you keep helping them to look at the outcomes, like somebody came to you to lose weight, then you can start with, somebody came to you with the external regulation or integrated regulation. I want to lose weight because I don't like the weight that I see, like numbers, it's too high. they came to you with unhealthy motivation. That's fine. Help them start. They initiated that behavior. It's critical that somebody initiate that behavior, came to you. That's a huge step. Now, from there, whenever they do the activity with you, get them connected with their goal, which is what? Outcome. Like, oh yeah, you're losing 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound every week, right? But at the same time, you emphasize, oh look, you're getting stronger here. How do you feel with it? And then try to introduce feelings and thoughts and key elements related to what? Intrinsic motivation, integrated regulation, which is making routines and habits, and identify the regulation. Then you will see them detouring a little bit from outcome only to some process related components in their activity, which help them to develop a healthier motivation. Use verbal and nonverbal praises, positive feedback to foster self-determined form of motivation. So like I said, help them introduce them some components of healthier motivation related aspect. So through your interaction, verbally, non-verbally, you can do it. Sometimes just nodding it helps. Like when they say, look, I got stronger. Not like, oh, look, I lost 1 pound. 1 pound, you nod it. Somebody says, look, I can do this one more. Like I got stronger. Then you give them big nod. Yeah. Then they will focus on that elements than losing weight, right? It's help them strengthen more self-determined form of motivations. If you want to give them reward, absolutely it's a powerful method as long as you use it properly as information related to their process-oriented performance and not outcome-oriented performance. Then setting realistic goals and plannings really helps to develop intrinsic integrated identified type of regulations, and goal setting strategies is the topic that you will learn as one of key strategies, motivational strategies later on after self-confidence topic.